Hook it started with laughter, the cruel kind that stings more than any slap. On a quiet Sunday afternoon, an elderly couple sat outside a small-town diner, holding hands over melting ice cream cones, when a car full of teenagers slowed down, rolled down the window, and hurled Coca-Cola all over them. The soda splashed across their faces. The old man flinched, his wife gasped, and for a second, everything froze. Then the laughter came again, louder this time, echoing down the street. The teens sped away, leaving behind sticky clothes, trembling hands, and a silence that hurt to breathe in. What they didn't know was that the couple's son was a Navy SEAL. And what happened next would teach everyone in that town what true kindness really means. Hey everyone, welcome back to your channel name, where we share powerful true stories about humanity, compassion, and the strength of kindness. If this story touches your heart, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment below, because your support helps us spread more light in a world that truly needs it. Now, let's get into today's story. Harold and Margaret Benson had been married for over 50 years. He was a retired mailman, she'd been a school librarian. They'd lived in the same small Tennessee town all their lives, where everyone used to know everyone. But lately, things had changed. The old diner they loved was now surrounded by chain stores and fast food joints. Teenagers sped through parking lots on weekends, blasting music loud enough to shake the windows. Harold didn't mind much. He always said, "Let 'em have their fun, Maggie. We were young once too." That Sunday, they were celebrating their 51st anniversary, nothing fancy, just 2 Sundays at the diner where they'd shared their first date. Margaret wore her favorite blue scarf. Harold had even combed his thinning hair the way she liked. They sat outside on the bench, watching the sunset reflect on the window glass. That's when it happened. A black car turned the corner. Inside, for teenagers, 2 boys, 2 girls, were laughing about something. One of them, a tall kid with a baseball cap turned backward, held up a half-empty bottle of Coca-Cola. "Bet you won't," one of the girls teased. The boy grinned, leaned out the window, and before anyone could react, flung the drink toward the couple. The cold soda splattered across Margaret's scarf and Harold's chest. The car roared off, the kids laughing so hard they could barely breathe. For a moment, neither Harold nor Margaret spoke. Then she whispered, "Why would they do that?" Her voice shook, not from anger, but from heartbreak. Harold sighed, dabbing her scarf with a napkin. "I don't know, sweetheart. Some people just forget how to be kind." They walked back to their car quietly. Harold put his arm around her shoulder. He didn't tell her, but he felt something heavy inside him, sadness, yes, but also shame for the world his generation was leaving behind. 2 days later, their son, Luke Benson, came home on leave. Luke was a Navy SEAL, tough as they come, but with a heart as gentle as his mother's smile. He noticed the faint brown stains on Margaret's scarf and asked what happened. She tried to brush it off. "Oh, it's nothing, honey. Some silly kids being kids." But Harold's eyes said more. Luke pressed. Finally, they told him. Luke didn't yell. He didn't even look angry. He just sat there quietly, staring at the floor for a long minute. Then he said, "Do you know who they were?" Harold shook his head. "Doesn't matter, son. Let it go. The world doesn't need more anger." But Luke wasn't planning revenge. He was planning something different. That Friday evening, Luke drove into town. He parked near the diner and waited. The same car showed up, he recognized it immediately by the dented fender. 4 teens again, laughing, joking, same energy. They ordered burgers inside, loud and careless, unaware of who was watching. Luke walked in wearing jeans and a plain t-shirt. He ordered a coffee and sat at the counter, a few seats away. He listened. The teens were talking about the Coke incident, laughing about how the old man's face was priceless. Luke turned around slowly. "You think that's funny?" he asked, voice calm but firm. The table went silent. The kid with the cap smirked. "Yeah, old people need to lighten up." "What's it to you, man?" Luke smiled faintly. "They're my parents." The color drained from their faces. Before any of them could speak, Luke said, "I'm not here to yell at you. I'm not even here to scare you. I just want to ask you something. He pulled out his phone and showed them a photo of Harold and Margaret from their wedding day, two young people in love, smiling like the whole world was ahead of them. You see them? That's who you threw Coke at. 51 years of marriage. My dad delivered mail for 30 years. Rain, snow, didn't matter, he showed up for people. My mom helped kids learn to read. They spent their lives being kind to strangers. He looked at each of them in the eye. And you thought humiliating them was funny? No one said a word. The diner was dead silent except for the buzz of the old ceiling fan. Luke took a deep breath. You don't owe me an apology. But you owe them one. You owe yourself one, too. Because the person who finds joy in cruelty loses something inside, something you might not get back. Then he stood up and left a $20 bill on the counter for their meal. Dinner's on me, he said quietly. Do better. And he walked out. That night, the teens didn't sleep well. The image of the photo, the tone of Luke's voice, it haunted them. The next morning, all four showed up at the Bensons' front porch. Margaret opened the door, surprised. The teens stood awkwardly, holding a bouquet of flowers and a six-pack of Coca-Cola, this time unopened. The boy with the cap spoke first. His voice cracked. Ma'am, we're sorry. We were stupid. There's no excuse. Margaret looked at Harold, then back at them. For a moment, she said nothing. Then she smiled softly. Thank you for coming. That takes courage. Harold stepped forward. How about you kids join us for lemonade? The good kind, without the throwing part. They all laughed a little, tension melting away. They sat on the porch, talking for almost an hour. Margaret told them stories about when she used to work at the library, about how she believed every person has kindness inside them, it just needs to be reminded. By the time the teens left, one of the girls hugged Margaret. Thank you for forgiving us, she whispered. Margaret smiled. Kindness always finds its way back, dear. Always. Word spread around town. People were amazed, not just by what Luke had done, but by what his parents did afterward. Instead of holding grudges, they opened their home, shared lemonade, and gave those kids a second chance. Within weeks, something beautiful started happening. Those same teenagers began volunteering at the local retirement center, reading books to seniors and helping serve lunch. One of them, the boy with the cap, even started visiting Harold and Margaret every Sunday. He'd mow their lawn, help with groceries, or just sit and talk. When Luke's leave ended and he returned to base, he told his mother, "You were right, Mom. Kindness always finds its way back." Margaret hugged him tight. That's because you planted it, son. Months later, on another sunny Sunday, the Bensons sat once again outside the diner, this time surrounded by friends, young and old. The same teens waved as they passed by, honking cheerfully, this time tossing confetti, not soda. Harold chuckled, shaking his head. Guess people can change after all. Margaret smiled, leaning on his shoulder. They just needed a little reminder of kindness. And maybe that's the lesson for all of us. Cruelty is easy. Laughter at someone's pain is cheap. But kindness, that takes strength. It takes courage to forgive when the world says you should hate. Because kindness doesn't just change others, it changes us. It's what makes this world worth living in. So today, maybe you can be that reminder for someone else. Smile at a stranger. Help someone without expecting anything back. Because you never know, your small act of kindness might just be the thing that turns someone's whole story around.